Welcome back, Hannah.
Hi.
How have you been?
I've been good. How have you been?
I'm good. So last week we were talking about your and your dad's relationship.
Yeah.
How has that been going?
It's been rocky, but here recently it's gotten pretty bad. I would say the worst it's ever been.
And by pretty bad, what do you mean?
I just mean that, we just had recently the biggest fight that we've ever had. It ended pretty badly. I ended up, I haven't talked to him since. I ended up just leaving. Um, in the end, it was over a game console and something stupid, and I didn't want my little brother to play it without me there, and, he thought that I was being unfair and I shouldn't tell him what to do because I'm the child and he's the parent.
Okay. So you said something stupid, but you sound pretty upset about this. What's upsetting you the most?
Yeah, I just mean stupid by what we originally started fighting over was a game console, which is pretty stupid in comparison to game console, in comparison to me and my dad's relationship.
Right.
And I just feel like, he was yelling profanities at the end of, the end of the fight. He was just really irate and he was yelling profanities and he was, calling names and he was just acting really out of character. He never acts that way. He's always mild-mannered. He's always calm. So to see him act that way towards me was really, it shocked me, but mostly it hurt my feelings and it, made me angry and I just had all these emotions going.
So you said you ended up leaving the house?
Yes.
So this, him being so unusual and out of character, like you said, it upset you that much that you felt that the best thing you could do was leave?
Yeah, I felt like I had no other option because he was just, yelling these things and saying all kinds of mean stuff. And I just felt like the best thing I could do would be to get out of the house because he's my dad. And at the end of the day, even if we're upset at each other and even if he's calling me names and yelling at me, I'm not going to reciprocate that. I'm not going to yell at him. I'm not going to call him names.
Okay.
It doesn't help anything. That would have escalated the fight. That wouldn't have helped it. It wouldn't have made me feel good. It wouldn't have done anything.
So because you love your dad, you wanted to make sure that you showed him the correct amount of respect.
Right.
And so instead of you continuing with the conversation, you tried to diffuse it by leaving?
Yeah. I was just trying to kind of avoid conflict at that point because I knew that talking to him wasn't going to work because he was irate and he was beside himself and all in his emotions.
So you getting in the car and leaving, did this escalate the situation?
I guess I would say it didn't escalate it, but it didn't calm it down.
Okay. And have you guys spoken since?
We have not. And that's just partly because I feel like it wouldn't do any good. And I feel like it wouldn't do any good because I'm upset with him and he's upset with me. And honestly, I don't feel like he's concerned about me and how I feel about the fight. I feel like he's concerned about my little brother.
So you feel like he's not going to be worried about your feelings and you're not actually going to get anything out of it?
Yeah, and the only reason I feel that way is because when he texts me, he doesn't ask about me. He asks about my little brother. I think that hurts my feelings maybe even more than the fight. That after the fight, he literally just texts me and asks about my little brother. Like, he's not asking about me.
So he's reaching out to you, but he's not really reaching out to you
in
the way that you
need. For my brother. Like, he's like, he doesn't say things like, I miss you, I want to see you, I want to make this right. He's saying things like, your brother misses you. Why don't you come see your brother? Come see your brother and I'll leave. Which, when he says, come see your brother and I'll leave, that makes me think that, okay, so you're going to leave. So you're not really concerned about seeing me. You're concerned about my little brother.
Okay. And does this frustrate you or upset you?
It's so upsetting just because I'm adopted by my dad. So he's not my biological dad, but he's been there since my birth. So he's always been there. It just upsets me because, after we get in such a big fight, like, you're really going to text me and call me about my brother? Like, my brother wasn't in the fight. Like, I get that he's a factor. I get it.
Right.
But what about me? Like, aren't you going to check up on me? Like, don't you want to see me? Like...
So you would have liked to seen your dad reach out and be concerned with why you left and how you felt about the
Right.
situation, or if you
Yeah.
were still upset with him.
Yeah, and I don't think that's crazy. I think that's, I mean, I love my little brother more
Mm-hmm.
than anything. And I did not want him to see us fight. I mean,
Right.
that broke my heart, like, because he was crying and he was like, um, telling me not to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like, I love you and I'll be back. This is just a little fight, you know.
So it was a bad situation for the whole family.
It was, yeah. And, you know, they were just kind of yelling at me and telling me not to leave because I was upsetting him. But I just felt like at that point I had no choice but to leave because I couldn't stay there.
And now looking back on the situation, do you feel like leaving was the best?
I do, and I would have done it sooner. And
Okay.
if I could have went back, I would have just left when I found out my dad had deliberately, you know, went against what I had asked him to do. I would have just left instead of even making a comment about it.
And not letting him get to this irate position.
I would have just left, yeah, if I could go back and do it again.
Okay. So you said you haven't communicated with your dad.
Right.
Is there a reason why?
Yeah, and it's because he's not inquiring about me. He's not asking about me. He doesn't care. If he does care how I feel about it, he has not made that clear to me. He cares about how my little brother feels.
And do you plan on reaching out to your dad?
I don't. Not right now. I'm maybe in the future, the near future, but right now, I'm not going to reach out to him. Maybe, I mean, sometime in the near future. I don't want to cut ties with my dad. I love him, and
Right.
he's an awesome person, and he's been a really good dad to me. But for right now, I don't feel like reaching out to him would be good. But I do want to in the near future.
Okay, so how do you see the situation getting better?
I see it getting better by when I, you know, eventually talk to him. Maybe I'll get some stuff resolved, and maybe we'll be able to explain, you know, what we said and what we meant by it and stuff.
Okay, and what exactly are you wanting to get resolved? Like, what's your main goal?
My main goal is to get probably would be better communication between me and my
Mhm.
dad. We're both, you know, trying to get the same thing. We both want, you know, a good relationship.
Okay.
We both want a successful father-daughter relationship. You know,
Okay.
we want to have a good relationship, and we always have. And we want to maintain that. And so I know we both want that. So I think we need help getting there. And I think a way that would help us get there is, you know, improving our communication.
Okay, and so what are some steps that both of you guys could be taking to improve your communication?
I would say some steps that we could take would be maybe, you know, just having a talk
Mm-hmm.
to each other, you know, just a sit down talk, and maybe, you know, after we talk, bring in my little brother and say, you know, me and dad, you know, we love you,
Right.
and we're sorry that we fought in front of you, and we didn't mean anything that we said, and we love you and we love each other, and, you know, just reassure him that this is a family structure, that,
Okay.
you know, we do fight, but we're intact, and we're there for each other.
So to make sure that he wasn't affected by the situation.
Right, because I mean, I am concerned about, you know, what he, you know, kind of observed from that, because I wasn't saying anything, but I was just crying the whole time. And, you know, I was gathering my stuff up and I was just crying, and he seen me and he was just so upset because I don't cry often in front of him. If I'm going to cry, I go off where my little brother can't see me. I don't want him viewing me in that way.
Okay. So one of the steps could be sitting down with your dad and
Yeah.
making sure that both of you guys are in a very calm
Right.
situation, and then also bringing your little brother in,
in.
talking about some of the concerns he might have had,
Right.
making sure that all three of you guys are doing okay.
Yeah.
You also said something about you're not ready to speak to your dad. What are some personal things that you could be doing to get you to that place?
I think something I could do would be to remember that my family is important to me,
Mhm.
and I love them, and we fight, and sometimes they really get on my nerves, but that's my family,
Mhm.
and they're the most important people to me, and so I need to keep that in mind when when I'm fighting with my dad, or when my dad says something that might hurt my feelings, or
Right.
when I'm thinking about making a snarky remark, maybe I should just think about the importance of, the relationships that I have with my family.
Okay, so kind of reflect back on how important your family is to you, and so you know that you don't want to lose this connection with your dad, and so
Right.
are you afraid if you wait too long to reach out to him that might happen?
That has hit me a couple times, but I know my dad very well,
Mm-hmm.
and I could not talk to him for 20 years, and he would still, welcome me with open arms
Okay.
when, I came back. So I think that me taking time isn't going to upset him. I think that, he knows that I love him, and he knows that I need to take my time and just step back. And I think.
So by stepping back, you mean like checking your emotional
Yeah.
feelings and
just making sure that I can handle that conversation before I have it.
So we have a few things that you and your dad could plan on doing to get to a better situation and a better place to actually have that conversation and learn how to communicate better. So by sitting down with your little brother, by making sure you both are in a very calm state. And then there's some things that you could be doing personally. Maybe talking to a friend and sitting there, making sure your feelings are where you need to be and just taking a step back from the whole situation.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm very interested to talk to you next week and see how some of these steps have maybe improved your relationship or improved your readiness to talk to your dad.
Okay.
I'll see you next week.
All right.
Thank you.